What is going on, everybody? GoW Ragnarok has a whopping 21 armor sets available, not including pre-order edition Risen set, and unlike its predecessor, every set can be upgraded to level 9 and can serve you well for the entire playthrough, so it's quite a lot to process. Today I will quickly go through some sets details and will give you my personal ranking for these sets. If you've been on my channel, you may know that while I value powerful builds, I think that the fun aspect of what your equipment brings on the table is even more valuable. Some sets I used quite extensively, some only a bit, but there is no set I spent less than an hour with. There was a lot of work put into testing sets for this video, so I really hope you will like it and you will find something interesting in it for yourself. Okay, let's get started, and I will try to be really fast here. There is no way I can cover all possible combos and usages in this one video, so please leave a comment if you spot some combos I didn't mention. We start with D tier, which means I didn't like any of the items in those sets, and there's actually only one set in this tier. It's a Keep Commander set. I tried to make it work. I really tried, but I could not. This set provides decent luck and runic stat, which is not that bad if you are trying to create luck runic build, but the problem with the set is its absolute bizarre perks. Now I'm thinking of it, and considering the channel name, I had to give the first place to this one. Chest piece gives a moderate luck chance to recover 70% of cooldown of runic attack or relic on use. Now this may sound like a really cool thing, but it is not. The problem is, if it doesn't proc, you will have to wait full cooldown time. You don't have any control of it whatsoever. Waist Wrist perk gives the chance of spawning Hell's Rage Stones on hitting enemies with Runic. This one is more consistent and works okay when you are using AoE Runic attacks against a lot of enemies. You can make battlefield stuff with those, but then you have to run after those. I tried putting on the entire set and boosting lag as high as I could. Only 1 out of 6 runic attacks cooled down, and it didn't make much difference. Field was populated with health and rage stones, which is kinda cool, but running after those was not fun, and also pretty dangerous considering how aggressive enemies are on higher difficulties. Maybe it is better on lower difficulties, I don't know, but definitely not on Give Me God of War or Give Me No Mercy. Let me guys know if you found a good usage for this one. I would really like to hear it. Straight into C tier. All sets in C tier have pretty good chest pieces, but underwhelming wrist and waists. Next two sets are coming very close, and I couldn't decide which one to put higher. So, Fallen Star set. Fallen Star set is a runic vitality set acquired by throwing crystals into the pond. Chest piece from this set is pretty cool. Its perk reduces damage taken during runic attack animation. Combine it with vitality stat and you get an amazing piece to increase the survivability of your runic build, considering how easy it is to miss runic shield activated on the boss. It also looks absolutely amazing in my opinion. Wrist and waist perk is restoring the cooldown of used runic attack if you take the damage during animation. While I like the idea of extra safety in the middle of a runic attack, giving you an offensive advantage on getting hit looks like a promotion of a bad playstyle. You use runic, get hit in the animation, cooldown restored so you can use it sooner. The more often you use it, the more chances runic shield activates on the boss, the more chances you will get hit in the middle of the runic again. That's simply not good. I tried this chest piece with Enlightenment set, and it was an absolute joy to explore the 9 realms because you stop dying that often, and it didn't compromise much of the offensive side. Then I tried the entire set on challenges, and Gna and Hrolf. Waist Wrist didn't really work. On challenges, I never got hit during animation because regular enemies usually staggered by runic attacks, and on Gna, well, the damage is just too much to accept it. On Give Me God of War, you can take maybe a couple of hits in one run, and you definitely do not want to take those on purpose to get cooldowns back. To sum up, good chest, wrist waist, not so much. The fact that it is available really late in the game doesn't make it a good service either. Starter's Scorch set. This is a defensive set with solid defense and vitality stats that you can get from Muspelheim Final Trials. Final Trials are tuned to level 7, so realistically you can't get this set before quite a late game. You are probably gonna have most of the crater already cleaned up by the moment you can get your hands on this one. Chest piece increases damage you deal to enemies during their attacks. It promotes a good playstyle that encourages you to learn timings of the bosses and understand where you can squeeze an attack between bosses' attacks in a single move. It is a great option to add to your physical damage based build to add a bit of beef to it, and it works exceptionally great with the Radiance set. Wrist and Waist on the other hand have a very questionable perk that reduces damage and increases stagger resistance during basic attacks. Now, this is a promotion of a bad style, because it is not just a safety net. The fact that you may not be staggered will hide the fact that you made a mistake. I personally don't think it's a good one to use. As I mentioned, I spent quite a time in the Surtur's chest and Radiance wrist-waist combo, and it made the build much more forgiving, as a result, much more fun, but this is not enough to rate this set any higher. Same as Fallen Stars, great chest, not so great wrist and waist, available pretty late in the game. Husk Fortified set. It is one of 2 chest pieces available for free after a Thor fight. It is a defense-focused set. Braces and Griddle reduces damage taken from unblockable attacks and from the back when blocking, 25% each. I personally think this is not a great perk. Nothing wrong with a bit of extra safety, but the fact that this safety is granted only when you hide behind the shield when you probably shouldn't promotes a pretty bad playstyle. Chest perk, on the other hand, is great. Defender's Riposte has a moderate luck chance to activate on block or parry. Next attack will be enhanced with an explosion. It deals very solid damage, works quite well with luck-oriented builds. I have the entire Lucky Riposte build set around this chest. I will link the build video in the description. The problem is, you really need at least some luck to make it work, but it is fun to play when you have it. The reason why this one is higher than the previous 2 is availability. It's not getting much earlier than that. And we're already in a B tier, which means the set as a bare minimum work very well, but there are some things holding it back. And at the very bottom of it comes Raven tier set. It is a luck defense set. You can get it from Niflheim legendary chests. You need 18 Ravens to get the full set. If you explore, you can get this one pretty early. Chest piece gives a low luck chance to trigger overtime healing. Wrist and Waist increases all healing from the items and stones. As a complete set, it actually works okay. It has a good defense stat, healing these triggers now and then, and it heals a decent amount thanks to other pieces of the set. The problem is the chest piece doesn't really work without braces and belt. Braces and belt at the same time require you to have some decent healing gear in order to work. I suspect a combo with Stainbjorn chest should work well. Maybe Undying Pyre's chest with healing knob for the axe may work. There are some options to pair those with, but not so many. I haven't spent much time in this armor aside from testing, so take my words here critically. In my opinion, it is not bringing anything new to the gameplay, but doesn't take anything away either. So if the defense life regen thing is something you're into, check it out. At the place 16s comes Soul Set. Soul Set is the set with the highest vitality stat in the game. Pauldrons increase damage based on the amount of available rage, and if you take lethal hit, you will consume rage instead of dying. It obviously creates an amazing combo with Jotunheim and Niflheim enchantment sets. Throw Hilt of Diving in so you get Relic with amazing damage output and naturally low cooldown that allows you to deliberately bring your HP down to activate Niflheim set. It is by far highest survivability set in the game, and this fact is fun in its own merit, because it is more fun to finish an encounter in 3 minutes, but first try, than 3 tries 1 minute each. It becomes craftable during the Reckoning main quest. The problem is, chest piece is pretty much commanding the build here. You can use Soul's Wrist Waist to maximize vitality. Perk will give you a chance of getting Rage Burst when you get hit. Well, it will also increase your safety. What I'm not completely sure about, if you got hit and there's not enough rage to save you, is wrist waist procs before, so you still can be safe. Anyways, another two valid options are Fate Breaker Wrist Waist, since they also give solid vitality and will provide rage generation, or Nidavellir if you want to make a hybrid with stun build. You can mix and match Soul Set with Fate Breaker, but if you go to use Nidavellir, you better use both braces and belt from it. As I said before, chest is commanding the build and nothing you can really do about it, while I don't see wrist and waist pieces usable in any other build. Lunda's set can be acquired in the exploration area in Vanaheim that opens after completing the Reckoning quest. It has some luck and runic stat on it, but overall stats on this armor are underwhelming. Perks on the other hand are golden. Chest piece gives moderate luck chance to apply poison to an enemy when parrying, blocking, or attacking barehanded. Poison is already an amazing status that decreases enemy power level, and I'm telling you, bringing orange health bar to yellow is a big deal. Wrist and waist taking it to another level with 20% melee damage increase against poison enemies each piece. That's an insane damage. Add to it synergy with Vanaheim enchantment set and it will start looking insane. But there's a problem, and the problem is, where the hell is our barehanded skill tree? Because lack of it is what holds the set in terms of fun the most. And versatility, oh well, you can use braces and belt in this build that kills Gna in 7 seconds, but that's it. And it's relying on Freya's summon. Chest piece can kinda work with Dragon Scale, but that's about it. This set is not really versatile. Hunter set benefits range combat, also acquired in Crater. To get resources for it, you will need to complete a couple of quests, including the secret one, where you encounter their huntress multiple times in multiple places, and then finish her off in her den. Wrist and waist increases range attack damage by 10% each, while chest grants buff for range attacks for holding L2. It is also the set with one of the highest strength stat in the game and very respective cooldown. So pack your Midgard and Asgard enchantment sets, they will be doing great as a combo with this set. I was always skeptical about range combat, but with all triangle moves and other stuff, it actually turned out pretty engaging. It definitely taught me to use the axe throws more. The problem is I can't see the set combining nice with anything else, with maybe exception of spiritual chest piece. The fact that this set is available so late in the game doesn't make it a good service either. So it is interesting and viable, but very self-contained. Steinbjorn set can be crafted after you get the spear. To get those materials, you will need to kill sleeping thralls. It has by far highest defense stat. Chest piece perk allow you to restore health with each attack after you take damage, and it gives a buttload of defense. It's definitely a great option for stun build. The problem, it has literally 0 strength, so if you would use it to make offensive build less squishy, it will come at a very high cost. I personally would look some other directions. Wrist and waist gives a chance to stun enemies when you get hit. Those are not very useful on bosses, but absolutely amazing on big fights. In combination with Stunning Fang, when you got hit, you just stun enemies around you. Then you take your blades and start swinging. It is devastating. But unfortunately, I don't see those being used in any build except stun build. Another point worth mentioning, this highest defense set in-game has one critical flaw: it has no vitality. It is not much of a deal if you are after stun damage, but if you are after survivability, you need to crank up your vitality by other means, otherwise status effects will destroy you. Overall good set, works very well together, but not as well in other builds. Quite fun to play though, enjoyed my time in it. Nidavellir set is defensive set packing respectable defense and vitality stats. You can get it by completing the side quest in service of Asgard very early in the game. This is my first playthrough that set. I will leave the link to the stun build video in description. Braces and belt perk is reducing stun meter drain by 50% each, meaning if you wear both of those, it will stop draining completely. You may not see those a lot in YouTube challenge videos, but don't let this fool you. Yes, when you kill Gna a dozen times, you are capable of keeping pressure on her at all times. almost never letting stun meter to go down, but this is when you're very experienced. If you're playing more casually, you're more cautious, so this perk gonna help a lot for stun builds. On top of that, thanks to decent vitality stat, you can combine those with Soul's Chest to create hybrid stun vitality rage builds. Chest perk grants a burst of health when you stun grab an enemy. It is a viable option with braces and belt, but I couldn't make it work in any other build. To sum up, stun builds in this game are fun, and Nidavellir set is amazing for stun builds, so give it a go. At 11th place comes Spiritual set. This is a cooldown set that looks more like a kinky party outfit rather than armor. It is craftable during your first stint in Vanaheim, which means we are kinda entering mid-game territory here. Chest piece perk is Arcane Strength, increasing melee damage by 50% every time relic or runic attack is used. Stacks up to 3 times, giving altogether whooping 45% melee damage boost, makes a no-brainer combo with Sigil of Bifrost Storm that triggers after using 1 runic attack from each weapon. This is extremely powerful if you like spamming runic attacks. The only problem for me personally that in the end game you will be stuck in quite a demanding damage cycle. It was fun for a bit, but I personally got a bit tired after some time. I can't take away the versatility of this item though. It can be well used not only in cooldown but also in strength or runic builds. Wrist waist piece provide a low luck chance to restore some cooldown of equipped weapon, and I don't like this one. First, it means managing cooldown of your weapons much harder. Second, since it's a low luck chance, you need to get decent luck somewhere to make it work. And third, closer to the end game, this is going to become an absolute overkill in terms of cooldown. I really like the combo of Spiritual chest piece with Berserker's wrist and waist. Add to it some proper cooldown items and you will never be short on runic attacks and relic usage. Arcane Strength and Bifrost Storm will be around 80% uptime, but as I said before, chest piece is very versatile and can be used in many other builds. We are halfway through the video, so if you're still there, please consider subscribing. There's much planned for the channel, and if you like this one, I'm pretty sure you will enjoy what is coming. At number 10, we have Enlightenment set, pure runic set, craftable after visiting Groa's Shrine in Alfheim, which is still quite early in the game. Wrist and waist perk increases damage of runic attacks by 15% against status afflicted enemies, so 30% if you have both. And considering it is the highest runic stat set in the game, this is kinda wild. Initially I was skeptical about it. It was like I was afraid that it would be like apply status, use runic, and absolutely nothing else in between. But with Muspelheim enchantment set, standard attacks are actually still doing very solid damage, so it ended up quite fun to play. Chest armor perk gives you a chance to boost your runic on successful triangle attack hits. It works okay, but you probably want to boost your luck a bit to make it work. Gives a pretty solid synergy with Vanaheim set. I will leave the link to my runic build video in the description. You can mix braces and belt with Placard of Falling Stars to make this build not that squishy, or with Manis Pauldron. Set already relies on applying status effects, so it will improve your melee damage without changing gameplay. Or you can mix and match it with the Spiritual set to boost your cooldowns. Overall, pretty good generic runic set that can be effectively used whenever you need to boost your runic stat. Mani's Wisdom set comes at number 9, same as Gift Demander set. This set can be crafted after completing Word of Fate main quest, so mid-game. This set packs a bit of a runic stat and kinda a solid cooldown stat. Perks of this set are pretty cool. Chest increases Extinguish Flame and Vaporize Frost damage. Skill that increases damage when you hit burning enemies with the axe and frozen enemies with blades. Skill by itself was already increasing damage by quite a solid amount. With this chest, it cranks it up to a different level. Wrist Waist increases duration of all status effects by 25% each. While it works extremely well with the chest, it is not a bad perk by itself either. It will increase the duration of effects from the bow, duration from poison, any status effect. It is really fun to play this set as it is. It promotes applying status effects and switching between weapons, which is in general a good playstyle, but it is also a very good option to add something to other builds. For example, you can use chest with alignment set to add a bit of cooldown and weapon damage, or you can swap wrist waist for undying pyres, one for better immolation permafrost gains. Judging by YouTube, it is a very overlooked set. Don't pass by, try it out, you may really like it. And number 8, Survival Set. Obviously gets 10 out of 10 on early availability, and it's definitely among the best looking in my opinion. I did my entire second playthrough in it, so I have some good first-hand impression about this one. So in the late game, it's an absolute banger. Balance between strength, runic, and cooldown promotes using all the tools at your disposal. Somewhat decent defense and vitality give room for an error. Luck stat is left a bit unused if you go full basic stuff, but in the endgame you can use the Sacred 9 Realms enchantment buff. Surprisingly, versatility is not a strong side of items in this set. It may sound like a great idea to add it to have all stats improved to the other build, but it always ends up a suboptimal choice. Let me give an example. Let's say you're playing in Radiant set, you like the Realm Shift, but the set is unforgivingly squishy, so you want to add some beef to it. You want to keep your wrist waist obviously, so you want to swap the chest. Survival Armour has some vitality and higher defense, but is not going to be enough. If you're playing on God of War level, you are dying into hits, you still will be dying into hits. So to solve a problem, you rather go for Surtur's chest that gives solid defense and tons of vitality. Now you probably will die in 3 hits instead of 2, and you will actually have more damage compared to Survival chest thanks to synergizing perk. Also, it is hard not to mention the power spike. All this goodness I described before works after you get your stuff to level 7, and to be fair, you still can clean up the good half of the game after you do this. But experience before this moment is underwhelming. You will have somewhat okay strength and runic thanks to weapons, but not good enough to compensate for mediocre defense and complete lack of cooldown and vitality. So keep it in mind if you want to have Survivor set playthrough. Radiant set, aka Realm Shift set, offensive set, that can be acquired in Barons after completing Alfheim main quest, so still an early game. Wrist and waist activate Realm Shift on last second dodge. 1 second if you have one item, 1.75 if you have both. If you like Realm Shift and good at last second dodges, those are great. Throwing just one of those items will be enough to change the gameplay, or you can use both of them with different chests. Good option are Vidar set for maximizing strength, or Surtur's Cuirass to create some safety net and capitalize on Surtur's Cuirass perk that increases damage against attacking enemy. Chest piece provides Blessing of Runic on last second dodge. It is okay, it works well in the set or can be mixed with Runic build thanks to some Runic stat. It is the ultimate get good set promoting learning the timings of attacks, which is great, quite fun on bosses. What holds the set back most is its garbage stats and absence of ability. Add to this the fact that offensive capabilities do not kick in till you actually start executing perfect dodges, and yeah, as it's fun on bosses, it can become very tedious on regular encounters. Because of that, I would recommend to mix it with some high survivability chests. Surtur's is the best option because of the synergetic perk, but it is available pretty late, so early game consider Nidavellir or Soul's chest. Guiding Light is the luck-oriented set that can be found in Midgard. It fooled me a couple of times with its looks because despite of looking like a freaking full plate armor, it has an average defense stat. Wrist Waist perk is giving a luck chance to deal critical damage and to cause explosion on any hit. It is a fairly generic perk, which is always good, so if you want to boost your luck in pretty much any build, you can throw any of those into the mix. They will work just fine. I'm using Bracelet in my Luxury Post build specifically to boost luck. It's absolutely great, very powerful and fun to play. Chest piece gives a chance to buff random weapon. I still don't know how I feel about it. On one hand, it's cool when you are motivated to switch weapons more, gives some fun factor, and promotes the good playstyle. On the other hand, it doesn't have a nice visual immersive cue, so you'll be forced to watch buffs, so But overall, fun, powerful, can be mixed in different builds, available mid-game, what is also not bad. Solid A tier in my opinion. And in 5th place, I have the Berserker set. This set was very hard to place, to be honest. Availability, the full set is available only after the story is complete, which is quite bad. But on the other hand, if you need just some of the items, the belt is available as early as Guiding Light set, which is mid-game. If you play a full Berserker set, or one of the OP builds with it, it will have a very demanding damage cycle that reduces the diversity of the gameplay. But in the other combos where you stop thinking about squeezing absolute maximum from it, it actually just adds more fun to gameplay. It is a stupidly powerful set, but Chest Perk makes everything literally one-shot you and give me God of War difficulty. The only thing I can tell for sure about this one is very versatile. It can be used very well as the full set, as well as adding the pieces of this set into other builds. Let's go through it item by item. Belt gives moderate luck chance to cause Soul's Explosion and Refresh Relic when you get hit, block, or parry. This is a great perk if you are blocking, parrying a lot. And because it's a moderate chance, plus Belt itself gives you a bit of luck, you don't need to add much luck in your build to make it work. You literally can use it in any build to boost your block parry effects. It is also the earliest item available in the set. You can get it as soon as you get the hilt in Midgard. Braces give low luck chance to do the same on any hit, and because it's a low luck chance, it implies some restriction on other gear. Basically, you need to crank luck quite high to make this work. In terms of availability, it really depends on how you play the game. It is available after the end of the story from Niflheim Berserker, so if you explore as you go, there is not much to use for it. But if you beeline the story, you will be around level 7 after it. Niflheim Berserker is level 8 and actually quite easy, so you can have the entire crater to explore with this item. Chest piece massively increases damage dealt and received after relic use. It is screaming glass cannon build. If you use it as part of the entire set, you will have tremendous uptime on this perk. Or you can try to combo it with Lunda of Vidar set and Talisman of Main to do this nastiness that you used to kill Gna in 7 seconds and Hrolf in 15. I personally much prefer Vidar set option because it maintains decent damage output even outside of burst window, when Luden set rely on Freya's runic summon to apply poison. Overall, that fact that the most OP builds you see on YouTube with this set have kind of a repetitive nature, it doesn't mean it has to be the way you use it. It actually can be fun if you want it to be fun. Wraps up A tier Fate Breaker set. This set is craftable for free before the beginning of the last main quest in the game. So if you beeline the story, there is much to explore in this set, but if you're exploring everything, then well, not really. Wrist and waist of the set improve rage gain by 10% each, and chest provides buff of strength, defense, and runic after exiting rage. Stat-wise, it gives very decent vitality and a bit of luck. If you want this armor to work well as set, you probably will need a couple of other sources of rage. Rod of Aggravation is the good option. I would not use the chest piece in other builds, but wrist and waist are absolutely amazing. First of all, thanks to the high vitality stat, they form the best combo with Soul's Chest. Add Jotunheim enchantment set to it and you will arguably get the most tanky build in the game, with very solid damage that can be further improved by Helheim enchantment set. But it's not the only good one. You also can drop Wrist or Waist into your Strengths or Luck build and it will look very good in it. The extra rage gain is enough to alter your playstyle if that's something you are into. So overall, great set, great on its own, great in vitality builds, or just as one piece in any other build for rage gains. Before we go to S tier, I want to iterate once more that at the end of the day, all of those are just different flavors. This video is to give you guidance rather than to say what is bad and what is good. Despite those rankings, right now the most fun build for me actually has no items from S tier, 2 items from A tier, and 1 from C tier. And I'm okay with that, so anyone should be. In the end of the day, just have fun. and respectable third place in S tier given to Undying Pyre set. It is acquired through Tier 1 Muspelheim trials, which you can unlock straight after getting the spear. Those trials are not that hard and usually can be complete as soon as you open Muspelheim. Wrist and Waist increases Permafrost Immolation gain rate. Chest piece will prevent Permafrost Immolation bar from draining on first hit. It comes with very solid runic stat and a bit of cooldown. Permafrost and Immolation are critical parts of God of War Ragnarok gameplay, and having it boosted is very nice. As a set, this armor works really well. It doesn't lock you in a certain damage cycle, but improves some of the mechanics. Even though chest piece prevents bar from reset on first hit, this armor still promotes not being hit at all, which is overall a good thing. It combos very well with 9 Realm Hints, but there is no reason why you can't use this one with anything else. And thanks to the great stats, you can mix items from the set into almost any build. I'm struggling to choose a good example here because all of them are good. You can add wrist or belt into the Radiant set to bump immolation gains and stats. You can add wrist belt to the Enlightenment set to form a more diverse playstyle. Or you can add a chest piece to it so you are more confident in keeping immolation up. Or you can add wrist waist to the Mani set, it works really good as well. Or use wrist waist with Vidar's chest for more strength oriented build. Or spiritual chest for more cooldown oriented build. Even in luck build, those are not that bad because active permafrost immolation increase luck. So overall, amazing set. Very powerful, very versatile, available mid-game, fun to play, well-deserved third place. And second place I give to Dragon Scale set. Dragon Scale set is craftable when you unload the crater using materials from Dragon Hunts. Unique combination of both high strength and defense stat is what puts this set here. This set bags for aggressive playstyle. Chest perk increases strength and defense on blocks and parries, stacks up to 3 times, and wrist and waist make you deal shield damage in AoE on block and parries and increase shield damage by 25% each. This combines into a very coherent playstyle. You have a decent strength and defense, so you have confidence to play aggressively. You block and parry, that deals damage, that also increases your strength and defense more. If you play with Niflheim set, it's increase your offensive capability even further. And then if you play with Svartalfheim set, it also increases stun damage, and because now you have the very good chance on filling stun meter, you are motivated to play even more aggressive. Wrist and waist, apart from helping with stats, deal damage on block and parries, promoting using your shield to the maximum. And look, shield damage may not sound like much, but it actually adds up. The benefit of this is very visible in long boss fights. Overall, I find this fast-paced, blocking, retaliating playstyle super fun, and with this set, it's also super effective. Chest piece is extremely versatile. You can add it to any strength build without any compromises on the strengths, and it will boost your defense. You can in the same way add it to defense build, so you're also not going to get any compromises on defense, but you will boost your strengths. And I personally don't believe there is a better option for stun build than this chest. Wrist and waist are not so versatile, but if the blocking and parrying is your thing, it will never hurt to add those into your build. The biggest downside of this chest is it is available pretty late. The problem that number 1 on the list doesn't have. And the first place goes to Vidar's set. This set is a pure brutality max strength set, and there is no substitute for strength in this game. Strength is always good. Whatever you do, you always attack with basic attacks to some degree. Chest piece gives a chance to boost your strength even further on combo finishers, where wrist and waist boost your finishers damage 10% each. This actually promotes a very good playstyle where you dodge instead of panic rolling, because dodge will not reset your combo sequence like a roll. So you can get to this sweet combo finisher. It works amazing in a set, but you can easily add it to any other set. Chest piece works brilliantly with the Radiant set, or with Undying Pyres, or Guiding Light. Same goes for wrists and waists, and of course I can't not mention the wrist waist plus Berserker chest combo. This combo is stupidly powerful, and yeah, you have this short burst window, but thanks to Vidar items it actually works well outside of it too. And it's way more fun with the combo with Lunda's armor. It is crazy when you realize all this power and versatility comes with one of the first sets available in the game. That's bonkers. Because of that, very well earned first place in my list. Despite me trying to covering everything on a very high level, this video ended up very long, so if you're still watching, big thumbs up. Thank you very much. Like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. It helps me and the channel a lot. See you in the next video.